Ready for round 2.
Okay.
We are going on a 12-hour day here, people. If you don't think that we put in the work for everything, you'd be wrong. Hi, welcome to the Music Lens Podcast with me, Alex Allegra.
Katie Fee. You know what's weird?
What?
It's like, isn't it like video games is like rated E for everyone?
Yeah.
But then music, rated E means explicit.
Rated E for explicit. I don't know. Couldn't tell you why that is. That's a good question, though.
Like, they don't have...
Good thought process there, Katie.
And then, like, movies, it's like G and PG. So, like...
I don't know.
Ask just keep one consistent system.
Ask the Parents Association
because
that
what
created
if,
it.
What if parents don't know and they're like, oh, my kids are into video games and E for everyone. And then they're like, oh,
I think parents know since parents are the ones that created the system.
Okay. That's just a thought.
Also, if you're playing video games, you understand the world a little bit, you know? Like.
Okay. That's true. What is happening? Are you turning me up? Are you turning you down?
Be turned up a little
oh, okay.
All of a sudden. Okay. Hip hop. Okay.
Hibbity. I'm trying to. I can't even
Don't
say
stop
it.
now.
I don't even know what the prohibity dibbity or something. I don't know. Jerry and Sarah on Ladies and Tangents said they were saying something on the plane back from tour or something, and they kept saying prohibity dibbity or something like that.
No, I was singing hip hop. Hip hop, don't stop. This is not a silly, goofy episode either. It's a serious episode. It's part 2 of the artist inventory series that we have. Our first one was on artist management, if you will. The most important key aspect as you are becoming an independent artist. Your base foundation layer as you're growing. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
This week's episode is on touring and what is involved in a crew, your people behind you when you're out on the road. Mm-hmm. And it is coming from me, and your girls got research in the brain, meaning okay. We're gonna see how this goes. I know how this works.
Okay.
I know how this works.
Okay. You're
going on tour. Let's start very basic. This is your first little tour you put together as an independent artist. We'll talk more about how to go about creating a little tour. Yeah, your first tour is probably kind of like a college rounds of tours, what I used to do, or what I was, before I met you, I was at a camp, and we had talked about, like, how do you go about starting your tour for the first time? And this will probably be a whole other episode, because we can talk about the process of independent touring when you're like, oh my god, I have these songs and I just released a small little project, and now I don't know what to do because I don't have a big following, and I don't have this, and I don't have that. And so how do I create buzz for myself? You probably do the college tour circuit, because college radio stations are a thing. So you stop by a college radio station, play a song, do a little show somewhere, like that kind of a thing. They used to tell us to stay in people's houses that lived in areas, like create a contact list. I don't know, but
that sounds sketchy and like health risk. Safety risk.
So I did a lot of tour research for college type tours when I was working in a marketing agency when I was an intern. Mm-hmm. So I have a little experience reaching out to the peoples, and I don't know where that was going. I'm very tired. It's starting to hit me a little bit. So you're on that level. You got your tour together. Who do you need on the road? You're probably traveling in a van, all nice and cozy together. Lovely. So you're going to want to have your band people, obviously. You're going to tour with them. Mm-hmm. You're all going to take turns driving and sleeping, and it's going to be hot and cramped and all in this together. So you don't want to have a huge band with you, obviously. Right. You're taking everybody on the road because you have to pay these people. You have to house them. In the van, honestly, you're probably sleeping in that van. So you got probably your guitarist, If you do not also play guitar, maybe a lead guitarist and a rhythm guitarist, maybe a keyboard player, and a drummer. So that's already 5 people. And bass. Wait, you, guitar. Let's just say you have one guitarist. Let's make it simple.
Okay.
Maybe a keys player or various other player.
I would say 5 people.
Bass, drums.
Yeah.
So you got your 5 people.
Including yourself.
Yeah. Including yourself. Got your 5 people. Then you're probably going to have your artist manager with you if you're small enough that artist manager is still your everything manager. But when you get to even a little bit into the Sprinter van, but you're like actually going on like a legit kind of tour, like you're playing a couple places here and there, you're going to have your tour manager. Who is a tour manager? That is your person that acts as your artist manager rep while you're out on the road. It's your best buddy. Again, you're going to want this person to be close with you, be a partner with you, because they're also going to be in close quarters with everybody. So you want to make sure that everybody's getting along. A tour manager is in charge of settling at the end of the night. So you want somebody who has some good negotiation skills, because you're leaving with the check when you're ending the show that night. And that person's got to be sure that contact at the venue, they got to know their contacts. They got to know where they're parking the van that you're driving in that day. They are probably the one in charge of the schedule for the day, when call times are, when rehearsals are, where you're stopping at rehearsals, where shipments for merch are coming in if you're big enough to have some merch, who they're also probably selling said merch for you during the show. They're your contact for when things go wrong. They're your on-site contact. Obviously, you're still in touch with your manager as well, but they're your on-site eyes, ears, the person that's going to be riding and dying for you out on the road. Because, again, they're especially the big thing at the end of the night is that they're your settlement person.
Yeah.
And sometimes promoters at clubs, I've been told, are a little picky about, well, you didn't do X, Y, and Z, so we're going to take that out. Like, you got to have a tour manager that's going to stick up for you and is going to be like, no, we came, we did, we followed our contract. Yeah, they're probably making sure that riders are met, that contracts are being met.
Basically just making sure everything goes smoothly.
Yeah, they're really
and also
all is good.
Handling things if things do come up that are things that go wrong, because things go wrong on tour, obviously.
Yeah.
So they'll like with travel, if you do any fly dates, we're saying van life, but if you do any fly dates and like
even in van life,
flights,
you might have some fly dates, just like if you're going across the country for like a one-off or a couple show days.
But if you have any like flight delays or cancellations, if you have any like issues with your flights, they're gonna be the ones kind of calling and trying to get you. If it's canceled, they'll try and figure out how to get you there with a different flight, things like that. If the van breaks down, they're gonna be the one being like, okay, can we get someone out here to fix it? Are we gonna have to like get some other transportation? And we like maybe they deal with the van. We'll just like send the band on to make it in time, things like that.
Yeah. They honestly might even be the van driver if that's how you assign it.
Well, some people you could do that, or you can pay a band member, or it depends how you want to set it up, because sometimes you just take turns with the band members. Or I know for Sam, he gets paid to drive the van. My boyfriend will get paid extra to be the driver, basically.
I've even seen some people, which we'll add next to our list of people, maybe the merch person will also be the van driver. So like it just alternates so that people are getting their sleep. People are getting, there are rules of the road of how much, I know for bus drivers at least, that there's a certain allotted number that they're allowed to physically drive.
Right.
And there's certain breaks that you have to take and all of that stuff. But that's getting a little bit ahead. I don't think the van people are as like, you have to abide by the rules of the road sometimes, which,
yeah,
you know,
and the bus
be sure you're getting your sleep though.
You're hiring, I'm pretty sure they're like bus drivers that are working for a company. So that's kind of where the rules come into, is like the companies are
when you're working with bus
having
companies,
these safety rules of like how many hours they can drive and stuff. So when you're just kind of like, it's people within your team that are doing the driving, then it's not like a strict rule, but definitely want to make sure everyone's getting the right amount of sleep and no one's like getting overworked to the point of like falling asleep at the wheel.
For sure. But your tour manager, you really want somebody who's faster on their feet with the thinking, really good problem solving skills. Like that, problem solving and negotiations for the end of the night are like your two big things. And then you got to get along with them because, again, just like your artist manager, again, tour manager, because managing everything, they're right up with you. They're going to be your buddy. Next, maybe you grow a little bit, you start getting some merch. That's when you bring in your next person, your merch person.
Which you just said too already, of the tour manager sometimes will be the one running that before you add on that person as a separate person too.
Even, depending on too, like you might, as an artist even, at the end of the, like if you're waiting for the other dance to go on, like you run it with the tour manager. I've seen that happen too,
Which is good because then you're, like, you can form connections and actually meet the fans that are buying your merch too, and make that connection with them, and you can like be personally thanking them for buying your merch.
Creating those connections, especially really early on. There's a reason that a lot of artists that are smaller do it, is because like it's so cool to create that moments early on. Like people want to be like, oh, well, I knew her when, and I got her first autograph, and I got her first piece of merch, and then you become a Taylor Swift, and then you wear it to the last concerts that they have. Like it's fun, Those early moments are really special, and I think as an artist who wants to be personable with their craft, it is so much more than just, oh, well, I'm creating these for later down the road. You're creating those moments because you want to connect with people and to see that your music is actually making that impact on a personal level, face to face. It's so cool to see. So your merch person is the next person that comes on in. I love merchandising. I always also wanted to do merchandising, and I still kind of do, like go on the road and do merch. Some famous people even before have done merch.
Martina McBride did it for George Strait, and Cole Swindell for Luke Bryan.
Yeah, and then they got big because you start getting, again,
you're making the connections.
Work close quarters with everybody. I will say, out of all the crew people though, merch people are kind of on the bottom of the totem pole from an aspect of you're sleeping in a little bit later when you get on big tours, like with the lighting crew and everything. Lighting and staging crews head out super early in the morning.
I'm trying to think. I'm second guessing myself if Martina was George or Garth. Do you remember? I just stopped us because I have a correction because I said George Strait. Martina sold merch for Garth Brooks, not George Strait. It just kind of processed in my head. I'm like, that wasn't the right person. So we looked it up to confirm quickly, and so correction, Garth, not George. But she then eventually, with that networking, was able to open for Garth, and that's kind of how that worked, of starting as a merch person and able to work those connections on the road to eventually get to be playing instead of doing merch.
Actually, get your merch person. So merch person, again, when on bigger tours, is probably towards the list, towards the bottom of the list, because they get to sleep in a little bit longer before they have to set up their merch booth. They just do their counts. They come in, they set up their displays, make it look nice and pretty. All of their work that is done during the show. You got to kind of figure out on your own where the docks are, where everything is. And your merch person kind of wants to get along with everybody because everybody else is doing their own like setups, and if you're nice to said crew, they will help you. If you are not, for any reason, they will not help you, and they will leave your stuff everywhere. And they're in charge of, like, being in contact with the providers or your artist manager about where drops are happening, and then they're going to go grab them and then bring them to the venue, because sometimes they can't get the fulfillment trucks up to the venue, so it's like down the street at the FedEx station. You got to go pick them up, and then you got to carry them all back to the venue. So
for
Katie and I have done some merch around Nashville as well when we first came to town. I always enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Pretty sure that one guy was going to give me a job if I had said I wanted to do merch full time. But I was a freshman and I wanted to sing.
Well, it's fine.
After you get your merch person, it kind of becomes, what do you need to fill in gaps? Because then maybe you're still in the Sprinter, or you finally get a small a small bus, but you got a little trailer hitch on the back where all of your stuff is kept.
Don't buy a bus.
Okay, that's at the end of this. Yes, but no.
Quote,
don't buy a bus, because then you're responsible for everything. If you rent a bus, then you are not responsible for repairs or anything like that, and they send you a new bus so that you can hop on and drive away. Because if you've watched the news, bus fires, crashes, all of the bad stuff in the world do happen. But bus fires do happen, unfortunately. It's a real thing, and then you're not responsible for said bus, and you don't have to find a solution. The bus company finds a solution, and you're not charged for it. So
yeah.
But a bus comes out of your pocket. Everything is coming out of your pocket. So that and planes. Everyone thinks you should buy your own bus and buy your own plane, but it's a waste of money because you have to buy it all yourself and pay for it all yourself.
Yeah.
But that was told to us by one of our professors. Yes.
Yes. Shout out. Dwayne O'Brien, Little Texas.
So, after you get your tour merch person's probably your next person, maybe a social media manager to come out and capture content for you on the road. That can also be a mixture of either your tour manager or your merch person as well when they're not selling. But the merchandise person is probably busy during your set, standing at the table for anyone that wants to buy stuff. So capturing some content, I mean, could work just because you only have to be there for the first 3 songs, and then after that you can't be in the photo pit anymore, so you kind of get whatever else you need on the outside and then be near the table. But it's probably best for your term merchandising person to be at the table. But again, when you're starting out in that Sprinter van life, everyone kind of has a different hat. So maybe like the drummer is also your tour manager person for like end of the day stuff, but then you also have somebody who's on for social media and also runs the table after the show. Or like, again, as an artist, you run your own table after you're done performing so that you're there. So again, everyone's wearing different hats. Then maybe you get a bus because you're an opening act and maybe you finally get some money. Again, you might start getting more money when you're like actually signed. So I don't know how many independent people are out on a bus necessarily, unless they're like pretty big on their own or they just needed it because they're out on tour. But I will say, being an opener, you think sometimes that, oh my gosh, they must be making so much money, or oh my gosh, they must have so much success because they're out on tour with these big artists.
But touring is expensive.
Touring is A, expensive, and B, a lot of those people pay for those spots. It is kind of a bidding war as to who wants to promote their artist the most in a label setting sometimes, of like, well, and that goes back to the whole pay-to-play thing, because you think especially as an independent artist, I mean, it's different when you're going out on tour with some of these big artists, and and it's different when they ask you, because some people, you get the dream phone call of, oh my gosh, they asked me to open for that. That's totally legit. They ask you to do it. You're going to get a set amount. And you're still getting a set paid amount, even if you do bid for that spot. But there is sometimes a bidding war as to who that opening brand new fresh baby act artist is on those tours, for like your big ones, like Taylor, or like it depends to how involved that main artist is, maybe like a Morgan Wallen, or like so sometimes it is a little bit of a bidding war.
Trying to think of a couple people too, of like when you're smaller still. Sometimes it's good to have a sound person that comes on the road with you and knows exactly how you like stuff, because some venues do provide sound people, but they're not always the best.
So next is probably your lighting and sound people. So you probably want to have a sound engineer. You probably want to have a lighting designer and lighting tech of some sort, because even if you're not bringing lights along on the road with you, you still have a lighting person that's going to be there, observing the setup that they have at the venues, pushing the buttons, making sure your lighting cues are going off, making sure everything is looking really nice. I will say, I don't know if Molly Green Molly Grace has a lighting person or not, but whoever designed her lighting tour, the lighting for her current tour, did such a good job. And whoever did the lights at Exit In, is that what it was? I think so. What?
I think so.
Exit In did a really nice job. Like, those were really cool lights, and I was like, this is like very professionally done. Like, you know, it was a very like well done show, because I think in those club scenes, especially when you're just starting out, it can get very easy just to do very basic lighting and very like dingy garage kind of vibes. Dungy, like you're in a dungeon. That's what I thought. Dingy garage kind of vibes, or like very much that nightclub like punk rock kind of vibe, but like it takes a lot to like really separate yourself too, and show that you're professional even at that lower level. And like that was so cool to see, so big props there. And maybe it's because I work in lighting now and I like take notice and all that stuff, but I was like, these lighting cues, man, let's go. But that was funny to see. So yeah, your lighting, and then your sound tech too, because
sound's important.
Sound is so important.
You need to make sure artists can actually hear themselves and the band can hear themselves and each other.
Good sound tech is honestly hard to find even in Nashville. There are a lot of shows, writers rounds that I go to that I'm just like, you know, and that's one of those jobs I feel like everyone probably thinks, well, I could do that, you know, but like there is an art to it. And a really good sound tech is like a good sound tech. So
right. And then like if you have one that's traveling with you, then obviously every room's different, but at least it's someone who kind of knows and can get an idea the more they work with you of like, okay, the guitarist wants to have like this turned up in their ears and things like that, and kind of get an idea of what kind of blend of the different instruments each person wants to make sure they can get it exactly how they want it so they can play their best.
Yeah, and I know some smaller venues, especially sound people are normally provided by the venue. Like I know for your show here, it was provided and you just pay a fee for it. But yeah, I think having a person on hand for that could be a little more beneficial.
Right,
for
I've
you.
heard plenty of times of because my boyfriend Sam plays for Adam Warner and they don't have one now, but they've talked about getting one because there's so many times where I get texts from him when he's on the road. He's like, this sound guy sucks, and was like having to tell him how to do things and how to like they were having trouble getting the tracks working and things like that.
Well, it's a mix of science and technology, and there is actual science behind it, like the way that rooms are like formed and like the acoustics of a room is
scientific
just, it's so, and like there's so many classes, and it was like the hardest part for me to wrap my head around at Belmont was like the more audio engineering kind of classes, because it's like it's science, but then it's also just having a good ear. And as musicians, sometimes, like especially when you're in those early days, at least I didn't think hearing protection was important. So I was going to concerts all the time.
Wear your hearing protection, people.
Wear your hearing protection, especially if you want to go into the audio visual world, because oh my gosh, it is going to make a difference. If you can hear higher and lower frequencies that no one else can, you're going to be a much better sound tech than the 50-year-old that blew out his eardrums standing too close to speakers all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
and get earplugs, like, I think do you have the same ones I have? Like, get ones that come on, like, a keychain and put them on your keys. Yeah. Because you bring your keys everywhere. Because that was my problem before, is like, oh, I have them in my big purse, and I never bring my big purse because you can't even bring them to concerts.
Anyway. Like, you grab, so like, your wallet out of it, or, like, your credit card, and then you throw them in a bag, and then you're off. Because, like, I know I have, like, my concert bag. So, like, I kept everything in my wallet because my wallet was a wristlet. So I was like, oh, I have my earplugs because they're in there. So, like, easy accessible, and they come in their own little case so that they don't get dirty, so it was so nice. But
keychain, that's how I have mine now, is on my keys, because then I bring my keys everywhere, so then they're with me everywhere.
I take my keys off of my keychain a lot of times because I have a very big clunky keychain, but that's just a me thing. And I never forget my wallet anywhere. So I'm always like, I got them if I have my wallet.
Yeah.
So,
trying to think. Also, within your band, have a band leader, because it's not always the artist and technically shouldn't be the artist. I guess I'm technically band leader.
No, all of these people again are kind of there to ensure that the artist just has to focus on being the artist and running a smooth show. But also your band leader can be the artist. Like I kind of call myself the band leader, but
the way that it was said to Sam was when he got asked to be band leader, and it's like he's the one running rehearsals and things like that, and he's like he has to be the one who has to be the asshole sometimes, because the artist can't be the asshole. Like he has to look good or whatever and be the nice person. For sure. So
but your band leader, you want somebody that's organized. You want somebody who's gonna run shit. You want somebody who might. I know a lot of band leaders make charts and stuff for everybody else too.
Set lists. They're the ones bringing the set list to make sure everyone has that.
Making sure communication is effective. Making sure that everyone's on time. You know, setting the best example for how the rest of the band should be behaving. Making sure that people aren't getting plastered out after or before the show so that they can go on stage. You know, you do want somebody who's there to have a good time, there to get shit done though too. Again, probably like not as stern as the tour manager should be, but like, you know, is keeping everybody else.
And sometimes they're the ones that are like, hey, like call time is this time and stuff. Sometimes they're the ones instead of the manager sending that out too.
Yeah. So,
I feel like I'm jumping everywhere, but with tracks too is another thing with the band is like,
oh yeah, making sure that the sound guy has all your tracks and everything in place, or just
but
like
also
being
that
the one to
could
queue
be
up your tracks.
Like a budget thing of maybe you don't have a budget to have like a 5-piece band. You could rely on tracks and have like only a couple people. I've seen.
Yeah, then you have like your core people, and then you can also have a whole sound.
At CMA Fest, not this past year, but the year before, didn't Ashley Cook only have like drums and a guitarist or something like that? And so the rest was tracks. And then Anna had tracks at the basement had it was her, and sometimes she would play rhythm guitar, sometimes she won it, and then drums and guitar, and that was it. Yeah. So if you have tracks, you have to be very good about staying with the track. If you mess one little thing off, everything is thrown off, obviously. But that is a money saver too, though, of and not having to pay as many people, but also not having to pay for their travel and their lodging. Yeah, and
it ensures that you're still presenting your full sound. And like, you know, I know if for pop things, and the reason I really want to use tracks is so that then I could maybe have some like dancing elements to it. And that kind of goes into our next thing is like background vocals and dancers, if like that's your thing. That's true. Like I always say, I'm so excited that like the whole dancer backup singer thing is coming back into style. And so I love that too. Would love to be a backup singer or a dancer somewhere too. But I know even like some of like the smaller acts have started, even in country music, have started to bring out some dancers because the studio that I dance at has been a part of things sometimes. So that's so cool to see.
Tyler
Hubbard, just those are one
Dancing in the Country. Yeah. Had that for CMA Fest. And stuff.
Hannah Ellis did it too.
Yeah, Dasha just did on Seem to Yours.
Yeah.
Had a whole like choreographed number for Austin.
Yeah, and that's again with the tracks, it makes it a little easier because if you're not spending so much on that, but then you can have some of those fun elements added into it, then you have more of a budget for things. What else? What's next after that? Then you kind of get started on your bigger cruise. You're going on tour with your buses, but then at that point, you're probably not an independent artist unless you built your whole corporation about being an independent artist, like Chance the Rapper kind of a person, where it's like you're all indie, and then you have like your whole lighting crew, your staging people, your VIP people. And even if you're independent, I'm sure you're contracting through some things to get outside help and resources, and you're just doing more partnership stuff rather than
that's my only like on the road experience thus far of like actually traveling for something is like VIP, and they usually have like a VIP manager who is on the road, like on the bus with the tour. But then they hire locally for the assistants that are the ones like checking in the people with VIP tickets and giving them their little packages and things like that. Yeah. So I know VIP to be a
is
VIP
currently
assistant.
Hiring in Live Nation for a intern. I do know that because I've seen it pop up a couple of times. So if that interests you, internships, there is an internship for everything. Yes. And especially working in live production. That's really all about connections. That's really who you know to get into things. Especially
it seems like working at Ascend if you're in Nashville, like even just like working Ascend concerts, you can get into like literally you just said the company Live Nation. Yeah. They run Ascend or like all that's their stuff. So
right.
That you can get into other areas of the company that way too, of like starting at a venue that they are running and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Associated.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not using the correct words, but I think I'm getting my point across.
Yeah. Another part of tour that we forgot to mention is like your techie people for like your instrument techs and stuff like that.
That's
like
important.
Your guitar techs and your drum techs and stuff like that, and they're there to like set up all your instruments, make sure everything's working right. Again, those are normally on bigger tours.
Yeah.
Also be prepared for late nights, getting little sleep. You're going to have to load in and load out when you're that small. So like I know sometimes when you see artists, they'll like, you're so excited to meet them and like they're gonna get off stage, but like they're like go because, and you're like, wait, but they're just like saying, and you're like, you feel offended, but it's like no, they have to get all their stuff out, they have to put it all in the van, they have to pack it all up, then they gotta go and meet all of like the people at the merch table that they promised they were gonna go see, and like so they're trying just to move, especially because they gotta stick with everyone else's time so that they can get everyone else on stage and packed up and ready to go. I think that was everything though. I didn't really have anything else after that.
Okay. You didn't find anything on your phone?
No, I was trying to find like other people that sold merch or like did backup singer stuff for other artists and like was trying to find an article like that, but they didn't have anything like that. So
okay. I know Joanna Cotton, Eric Church's background singer for a long time, recently left his band, and it was so she could pursue her own music, but she kind of like developed her own little following within the church choir, and but I haven't really been keeping up, and I don't know if I've really seen her do anything, but I guess I haven't really followed her outside of Eric Church anyways, so I just wouldn't see it on my page or anything, but I hope she's doing well. I know she gets to play at the venue, the Neon Steeple is what the venue is called at Chiefs, so that'll be cool. I feel like there's like pop ones, but I can't think who, or at least there's been like background singers that end up on The Voice or American Idol, and that's like their backstory is, oh, I got to sing background for Alicia Keys for however many years and things like that.
Yeah,
I guess we never mentioned like a booking agent, but that's probably a whole different episode maybe, or?
Yeah, booking agents are the people that help you plan the tour and everything at the beginning of it, so like they're not out on the road with you really, right. So that's why I just didn't include them in like your who you bunking with and stuff like that. That'll probably be more of like a when we do like how do you start even finding resources and stuff. Answer, it's a lot of Google, a lot of Google and a lot of spreadsheets, and kind of how to build out a tour, seeing your market, seeing like everything like that. It'll be a whole other episode. And like, when do you need a booking agent? When like, right. What are you paying a booking agent for? That kind of stuff. So, let us know your fun tour stories. Let us know if you have any other fun little pieces of the road history that you've... Katie's having issues over there. And Katie, take us home.
I wasn't listening to you. What did you say?
I said, make sure that you're following us on all the social medias. We have our content day coming up. If you're an independent artist, if you're looking for a next project, if you're trying to have some fun, maybe ask some questions about some strategy for said next project, and get some pictures while you're at it. Sessions are $50. They are April 27th. We have slots from 10 to 5 open. And if you want to potentially win a free version of the $50 studio content day exclusive special deal day fun extravaganza, how many adjectives can I put in there? You can follow me at Alex Allegra Music, Katie Fee Music, and the Music Lens podcast. And then fill out the form, tell us that you did all of that, and then we're going to pick at random for a chance for one lucky person to win a free version of the content day, still with all the same great stuff, but you don't have to pay. And we can't wait to see you guys then. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the fun social medias at the Music Lens Podcast. Anything else, Katie?
Well, you already kind of said all of our socials.
You weren't paying attention.
With the contest part for the content day. So you covered that. Rate and review us, because that's also helpful.
Yes.
For the algorithm and all that fun stuff. Help us reach more people, because that's always a good thing. You can submit stories to the Music Lens Podcast at gmail.com if you have any road experiences that you want to share. And yeah, I think that covers everything.
Okay. We'll see you guys next time.